Okay, well, very good afternoon again. Welcome to this Summit 20 presentation. This is the second European customer presentation by Morgan Pearson of the University of Lund. We're just waiting for a few more attendees, so we'll give it a couple of minutes and we'll be back to you shortly. Okay, well, very good afternoon to everyone. Welcome to this Summit 20 presentation. This is the second European customer presentation by Morgan Pearson at the University of Lund. As with the last presentation, I'm going to keep this intro short. We've got a lot of content to get through. We'll open up the floor to questions at the end of the presentation. Morgan is an IT architect at the University of Lund. We'll showcase how they've implemented AppsAnywhere to improve the delivery of software to their managed lab devices and other campus devices, and their plans to deliver software to students' own machines too. So I'm now going to hand you over to Morgan, who's going to explain a bit more. Should you have any questions during the presentation, please post them in the questions tab of the GoToWebinar control panel. Thanks, Morgan.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, my name is Morgan Persson. I'm from Lund University in Sweden. Lund University is southern Sweden, not far from Malmö, and just across the water from Copenhagen. We are an old university from 1666 and have 9 different faculties. I'm from the Faculty of Engineering, also called LTH, but it's not a separate school, it's a part of the Lund University as well. We have 8,000 employees and 40,000 students, according to the official figures. When I look for a user accounts, I can find about 84,000 accounts, not 48,000. So there are students, and we also especially employees, because some people could be employed by the university hospital and still working at the university. So yeah, one of the largest universities in Sweden. It depends on how you count, and of course we count, so we are at least in second place, not less than that. We're quite a lot of people working. It's a large university. We have lots of IT people, but we don't have a single central IT department. We have a central IT department managing lots of things. We also have IT department at faculty level, so, most of them doing many similar things to the ones that on the central level. We have several departments which has their own IT staff. Myself, I started as a student in 1996, and around 2000 I started working at the department, and then I started working with IT there. And at the moment I'm working IT at the faculty level, but we still cooperate. Previously everyone had their own solution. We do things best our own way, but a number of years now we have started to cooperate much more within the university. And since I'm from the Faculty of Engineering, we have a lot of software in the computer rooms. We have quite a lot of computer rooms as well. And compared to other faculties, yeah, we have a lot. We have done this for several years. We have automated it. Then when you look at, for example, servers, network, we don't have that much. The central IT has much, much more servers. Faculty of Medicine, a small research group, could have more storage need than our entire faculty. So in practice, I'm still working at the faculty, but we're working together. If it's clients, application printers, many people from our faculty is involved. If it's servers, storage, and things like that, people from the Faculty of Medicine is usually involved. And from the central IT, there is usually someone involved there as well. But we are not competing. We have divided the work between us in some way, and we try to solve the problem for the whole university. And that's quite differently compared to how it worked a few years ago. We have an environment today with the clients are mostly Windows 10, managed with System Center. Yeah, we have hundreds of softwares. It depends how you count. So we have, say, 400, 600. We have a number of software, so probably 300-400 that are actively maintained. We have about 1,200 in different versions passed through our installation service the last years. And myself started packaging software as MSI packages in 2003. And for several years at the Faculty of Engineering, we did all the packaging as MSI, deployed everything for the computer rooms with group policy, and not all software were that fun to package as MSI. Today, we use very much, as a normally use, PowerShell app deploy toolkit as a template for packaging application, as launching them from the PowerShell application deploy toolkit, and have standardized around that. And because we have a standardized way of packaging the software, we also automated quite a lot around that. We have some scripts that each day checks a number of websites for mostly open source softwares, check the current released version, check what we have in our system center, and sends an email that tells that there is a new version of these softwares. And with running the same script with an additional parameter, it will automatically download all new software that has been published if we have the URLs in the script as well. And then we have to get the software into System Center, a tool for deploy and publish the software, import and deploy the software. And so in practice, for about 40, 50 open source softwares, we get an email, we run a command to download, we run a script and select which one we'd like to import and publish in System Center. And part of that is published on GitHub, where you can find some of the things that we have done. We have called our project pc.lu.se. lu.se is our normal domain. And we don't take care of the clients for everyone. This is the Lund University System Center platform. This is provided to the IT technicians at faculties and even the central IT, and if there is a technician locally at the department, that could use as a base to provide services to the users. At our faculty, we use the System Center solution and we provide support to the end users. We take care of most things for the administrative personnel, but the departments normally have their own support staff. At the central IT, they provide clients as a service almost. They take care of everything. They will put the machine on your table. They will provide the support. They will do everything around it. And we haven't forced anyone into the solution. We said we will build a solution that could scale to the whole university, make it available to everyone that would like to use it, and a large part of the university uses it. Then, of course, it's not only Windows. We have a managed environment for Mac where we use YAML. We have computer rooms with Linux that using FAY, fully automated install for Debian mostly. We have lab computers, standalone computers. We are a large decentralized university. If it exists, we probably have it somewhere. And we had a solution that was working for our computers. We didn't need AppsAnywhere as a solution. We found it and said that this would be a great service to our users. And at that time, we were thinking mainly for the students, because we have had MATLAB and software like that available to the students for many years. And then Microsoft had added some things, and their CAD software and more software. And for a time, were able to borrow a CD-ROM or a DVD at the library with the software if you didn't want to download it and install it on your local computer. But AppsAnywhere seemed to be a really nice service. And we had some suppliers from other companies coming by the university, providing, we have a solution that will solve this and this, but nothing that we really liked. And after turning down the same suppliers 2 or 3 times, we said that it's a great solution if it worked. Maybe we should look for something. And we found AppsAnywhere, and they came by, had a presentation, and I think that this was the slide from the presentation that sold the solution to us. Because everyone else had solutions to install Office, to install Acrobat and things like that, and preferably on a domain-joined computer. But we have lots of application, and the complexity as of managing people bring your own device that you don't know anything about. And I think that, yeah, AppsAnywhere seemed like a really nice solution for that. We had a plan. The problem was that we started at the same time that we were implementing the university-wide system center. That meant that we didn't have that much time, but our goal was to have the cloud-paged application for students, because we wanted to provide the service to the students. And when we had a service to the students, the experience should be the same if you're working on your own computer or if you're working in a computer room. So importing local installed software and integrate with everything that's published from System Center and available in Software Center should be in the portal as well. And after that, launching it for the employees to have all the software available as an employee in the same portal as well. And down the line, we were going to, we need Parallels or Citrix. We have at least three different Citrix environments today. One is for more secure information, mainly used by the Faculty for Medicine. That will remain. The other two were solutions just to be able to run Windows software on Macs and run old software. And those two are going to be replaced because we would like to use AppsAnywhere instead. For the high security staff at Faculty of Medicine, they will continue to use Citrix. And we have packaged a number of software. So when we get a request for a software in a computer room, first option is to package it for AppsAnywhere as cloud-paged. But we haven't launched for the employees yet. And because of that, software that will also be used by employees is usually packaged as usually with a wrapper in PowerShell App Deploy Toolkit and published from System Center, because we have that process almost automated. AppsAnywhere were great when people complained that we would like to run old Java in an old browser with things that we don't want to have on our computers anymore. put them in an isolated cloud-based application. They can still run it, and we don't have to care about that anymore. And our Mac users, they want to run Windows software. And we can also realize that in the beginning, you're thinking, yeah, we might have to provide parallels to some employees because they would like to run Visio project, things like that, and they are employees, they need to run it, but probably not for students. If you look at the number of computers among the students today, Macs are quite popular. Even, so we have courses in mechanical engineering, where it's a problem that maybe more than a third of the students are using a Mac and don't have any Windows computer at home. And they have even tried to tell the students that most of the software you will use as a mechanical engineer is CAD software, calculation software that might not be available on a Mac. So we would recommend that you get a PC. But yeah, people like Mac, people had a Mac. So we realized that we would have to provide a parallel Citrix environment or something like that, even for students. And things hasn't happened as quick as we would like to, because this is a service we would like to provide to the students. The education works. We have computer rooms. We have software that people can run on the computer as well, their own computers as well. And we have had other projects that unfortunately have taken too much time and competed with AppsAnywhere. But we're at the moment now that we're planning to have a bit more time dedicated to AppsAnywhere and get the implementation ready. And when we installed it in the computer rooms, as anyone else has said, the students and the teacher, they like it. They log into the portal, click on the software, it runs. For the planning, I think that it was an error not to include Parallels or Citrix on the beginning, because now at the moment, if we would launch it to the employees, we can just launch it for the Windows users today, because the Mac users that would like to run, especially typically Windows and projects, they need to use their own solution for a time. So we might not launch it for the employees officially until we have something up and running to provide the virtual desktops to different operating systems. And since we have been packaging software for so many years, thinking, how hard could it be? And I wouldn't say it's hard to package for AppsAnywhere and do a cloud paging application, but there are some things that has to be done differently. I remember the first time packaging something with a SQL Server. I know exactly how I would do that just usually, but wait now I have a SQL Server that stores something locally that I, in some cases, would like to keep, but I don't need to keep. Yeah, there are things to think about when packaging. We've also realized that some suppliers, because applications we planned to distribute from AppsAnywhere, some suppliers have started to provide the software to the students themselves. Just the old-fashioned way of download it, install it, run it, but in the process somewhere, you register at the supplier's home web page, you put your contact details, and they get the information about the students and things like that. So I can see that they have a wish to get that information from the students. And I think that we will see more of that kind of software. And some software are auto-updating. So you install an installer from the supplier, they keep your software updated, connected to their cloud services. If you don't use that, yeah, there could be a problem. Still, we have lots of applications to run in AppsAnywhere anyway, but it won't be the only solution. And in Sweden, the university is closed just before Easter. And when we closed, it was really, really useful to have AppsAnywhere, because first day after the decision to close, I think we put, we were 2-3 people just packaging applications, putting them in the portal, adding more applications, and that solved many of the problems. Not all, we did some other solutions as well. We put a remote desktop gateway for students to be able to connect to computer rooms for more graphic intensive courses and things like that. But most software was just quickly moved to AppsAnywhere, and it was, it just worked. At least when the students read the description on which website to visit and things like that, but there was no technical problems at all. And we are still, we're using it, but we're still doing some implementation. We don't have the parallel Citrix. We are thinking about, should we go with Parallels or Citrix? First thing when I looked at it, Parallels is the choice for us. But since we have a Citrix environment, we have technicians working with Citrix, knowing Citrix, have used it for many years. I still think we will go with Parallels, but we have to take a decision on which to use. And it's also, should we run something locally or should we use Windows Virtual Desktop? I think that we have the hardware to be able to run it locally. And Windows Virtual Desktop is interesting, but maybe not the first thing. Also, integration with System Center. Since we have done an integration where we can easily publish things in System Center, Software Center, we would like to do as much automation as possible, because I see that there will still be some software that will be published that way. But if I publish a software in System Center, why doesn't it automatically show up in AppsAnywhere also? And we have our process of automating the packaging of open source software. And today it downloads the files, it unzips them, it builds the installer, a wrapper and things like that, and put them in the right location. That should be possible to do with the Cloud Page app as well. Automatically build the project from the files downloaded, or have a project template and package the app. So we're looking into, could we do this and get our Cloud Page applications updated at the same time, or as a Cloud Page instead of the current deployment, but having them updated the next day after something is released. We have a test it, but just don't spend time on downloading packaging. That would be really nice. Myself has been packaging MSI packages for many years. I have hundreds of softwares with advanced installer projects. And I was thinking maybe we should be able to convert the project from advanced installer to Cloud Page projects instead. Its files, its registry entries, it should be somewhere on the destination computer. Why can't we do more automation? And part of the automation, another problem is software that need a license server access. Of course, as I said, we don't have always on VPN today. We have some other solutions. We have a VPN server where the student can use, but then they have to connect to VPN first. Could be done with some scripting, but it would be nice to be built in. And always on VPN would only solve the solution for our managed machines. We would like this to work with any machine. And I have been looking to, in the Cloud Page application, maybe put some kind of tunneling for just the license servers for that specific application. I don't need to connect VPN to the university to run a specific software, but I need to have access to the license server for that software. It could be something maybe based on WireGuard, which is a VPN protocol, or just as a SSH tunneling or something like that. I think it would be really nice. We're looking into something that we could just add to the apps before we publish them. So when you run that app, you will have access to the license server in some way, in a secure way. And for our current System Center and current packaging, we're discussing with other Swedish universities, and we have some cooperation. And there are two other universities that have provided some code to the tools that we have put to GitHub, but we also have some cooperation about tools for System Center, mostly around System Center, not that much about packaging. We used to have one university, we had some exchange, some packages and weld, But in practice, it seems to be different, at least within Europe. In some countries, universities within a country, they are enemies. They are competing between the same students, and we would like to get the students, we don't talk with you. In Sweden, we still have a competition to get the students, but everyone working in IT, working in administration, we would like to do our job as easy as possible. And if I can talk with someone else at the university and get some tips or give them some tips on how to do things, I'm all for that. And that's the policy of the other universities as well in Sweden. So if I ask someone at another IT department at another university, it's never a problem to get ideas, help, or something like that. And we also think about when we implement this, what is the future? And we said it's a service to the students. It's not to solve a problem, but in practice, it's not only for a service, because we could see that people would like to use their own computers. They normally prefer that compared to the computer room, because they can work wherever they like. But we can also see that more and more education need computers. So we don't expect to be able to get rid of the computer rooms, but we might not have to increase the number of computer rooms. And I know, especially if the education at our Faculty of Engineering, the education in chemistry, because they are normally a small group with a teacher, later years of education, a small group of students and a teacher. Some of the education needs a computer, some education might not need a computer, but they are a small enough group that they don't book a seminar room, they just book a computer room, and maybe the teacher starts with half an hour or something like that of presentation on the screen, and then they continue to work on that problem. Previously, it was you had the lectures, you had your seminars, exercises, and you had your labs. Everything is more working as you have some mini lectures in the computer rooms, and that means that they need more computer rooms. And by adding AppsAnywhere, we can provide people to be able to use parts of the software on their own computers. But still, if they would like to use the computers at the university, they are allowed to. And our computer rooms are open 24/7 all year around to the students. And I also think that AppsAnywhere, because we use System Center today, but of course we are looking to Intune. Intune is it's Microsoft's future technology for deploying systems. I think they already said that there will be a license per device to manage computers in System Center in the future, because that's a way to force people over to Intune. Intune is better to manage apps today than it was just a year ago, but it's still not good, at least what I think, compared to System Center. But the combination, Intune and AppsAnywhere. Intune is good at deploying Windows, managing Windows and the settings around Windows. You can also deploy Office and things like that quite easily. But the combination, because getting all the apps for AppsAnywhere, I think that AppsAnywhere fixes almost everything that's bad with Intune. And we started thinking about students' computers in the future. Today, they are domain joined, managed by System Center as most other universities. But when we have moved the application to AppsAnywhere, the students normally don't need a membership in the Active Directory domain. It could be possible to have self-deploying Azure AD joined computers with AppsAnywhere and don't use System Center at all for the student computers. We still need that Active Directory for employee computers to access some services, but I think that the student computers, that could be a good trial for what's possible to run computers in an almost cloud-only environment. Manage from Intune and Azure AD, home directory and storage in OneDrive, apps from AppsAnywhere, And if we can do that, people should be able to do almost the same on their home computer. They could have a Windows, the storage in OneDrive, the apps from AppsAnywhere, and we get an even more same feeling of same experience in the computer rooms as you get at your home computer. We haven't looked much on AppsAnywhere for exams so far, but I think that we have had a project about digital exams, and they have done some recommendation, and I think they finished half a year ago or something like that. And then, because of COVID-19, we got quite a lot more digital exams. We also got a complaint from some student that sent a GDPR complaint that the university monitored their computer while doing the exam. I haven't heard much more than that there was an official complaint sent in. We have more and more teachers, because now we have the need for digital exams, and most teachers are very pleased with digital exams. So they say that we will continue doing this even when the students are back at the university, but instead of using a webcam to monitor the students during the exam, we will put them in the same rooms as they usually write their exam, but with bring your own device, run the software on the computer, run the software on those computers, and AppsAnywhere is a great way to get started. We also have a faculty of engineering. We have students in architecture, industrial design, mechanical engineering, and they use software that could depend quite heavily on graphic cards, so the GPUs. And in practice, they are using this software for education. They don't draw that complex modules usually. Mechanical engineering, what you do in the courses is not comparable what you do in a real project, where you need really great workstations. We still buy workstations. We buy better computers for some of the students than we have for employees. But GPUs, there are new generations all the time. Could it be that instead of getting hardware with GPUs in the computer rooms, that we could put these somewhere else and run the apps for Parallels or something, Windows Virtual Desktop? We don't have GPUs in our servers today, so it's not a plan to put them in Parallels locally. But for when we have a course that only needs the GPU heavily for a few weeks a year, if we could get that for Windows Virtual Desktop, so that course get access to a machine with a much more competent GPU than we put in our computers today, because we try to keep the computers the same in a building, and we don't put that expensive GPUs. We get something that works. But if you could just have them for the weeks that the course really needs them, then we could afford to get something completely different from Windows Virtual Desktop or another virtual environment or something like that. And we plan to run all the normal sessions for virtual desktop, Parallels or something like that, locally at the university. But then we have events. For example, now the university closed. I think that we will look into have a setup that runs most of the things locally at the university. And maybe if you have something that you need a special GPU or something like that, you should be able to run it in Windows Virtual Desktop or a cloud environment, but also have the possibility to, if there is a sudden increase, not have everything going slowly, because it doesn't matter how quick we are. It's quicker to get a virtual server and then to set up something in our server room. So to run most of it locally, but be able to run in the cloud as well. And we also have started thinking a bit about, there are discussions about changes in CPU architecture. The Mac is probably going to their own CPU. which is ARM-based. Microsoft have the Surface X, which is ARM-based as well, with their own CPU. And this makes, I can see that ARM at the Mac and also in the future ARM at Windows will be more common. I'm not sure at least the Windows software will keep up at the same speed. Microsoft said that those machines will be able to run most of the software anyway, but I think that we will see that students, especially buying new machines with different CPU architecture, realize they can't run the software they expected to run, and we will get an increased demand of software that should be run virtualized on our servers instead of running locally on the machine. And also, I suggest the possibility to run something on any device. When we give the students that opportunity, they will use it. So when we started our project, the plan was that, yeah, we might need a server or two for parallels, but people are going to run the software locally. I'm not sure that 1 or 2 servers will be enough, but we will try to provide as much software as possible to run your local computer, but we will need something to provide the same software for those that has something else as well. And there is, we also looking into is what can we do to automate, because I'm not a developer, but I'm happily to do some development if that means that I can skip doing the boring work of clicking and managing something else. So I do development that benefits myself mainly, but we are quite interested in doing more automated tasks, getting information in and out of AppsAnywhere, more automated, doing more automated packaging of the cloud paging application as well. And we should just find a time to be able to do it. And hopefully we will be further on during the autumn here, because there is a plan to have some people working in more scheduled times of actually working with AppsAnywhere. But so far today, we are really pleased with the software. And I think that that was my presentation. Do we have any questions?
Awesome. Thanks very much, Morgan. Okay, so if there's any questions, post them in the GoToWebinar control panel. And of course, we'll get around to answering each and every question. If we don't get around to it now, then we'll take every question and get back to you via email. Thank you very much for your time today, Morgan. Really appreciate it. If there's, don't forget there are more sessions today. More information can be found at software2.com/summit20. I think our very own Phil Morgan will be sharing best practices for configuring AppsAnywhere to deliver applications off-site. So he'll show you how to properly provision key applications to students and staff so they can continue getting their work done wherever they are. That's coming up later on. We do have a couple of questions coming in. Oh, Chris Smith suggested you're looking into Numescent's non-interactive packager. So that might be one to.
I think that a colleague of mine has looked into it. I haven't done it myself, but a colleague, the one that has done most of the automation of the current packaging for System Center, has looked into something. But since we haven't really started, let's see if I can get the questions in a bit bigger window, because I got just a small window for that at the moment. Let's see if we can. Yeah.
Do you make?
So I haven't looked, but I know there was something, and I know it was half year or something that he looked at it. So it could be that, I'm not sure when it was released, because first time we looked, there was no non-interactive packager, I think. But if not, I will tell him. So we will take a look on it. Thanks for the tip.
Cool.
And I see a question also, separate packages for student licenses and lab licenses. We try to keep the licenses out of the package today in System Center. And we have had some different ideas. For example, today when we deploy MATLAB, we deploy it with the license server information, and then the student can go into the software and register it with their own account, and then they don't need to have access to our license server. But there are also software where we have different licenses available depending on if you're a student, if you're an employee, and different suppliers interpret PhD students as different kinds. Sometimes there are students, most time there are employees. So we will have packages with different versions in the future as well. And I got a question also, how Windows users that want to run Mac software. I don't think we have had any request of that so far. We have a department that started to buy MacBook Air, and just the first thing they did was install Windows on all of them. They just liked the design of the computers. We haven't had many that asking for Mac software on PC, because if they like Mac software, they also like the Macs and would like to run on that.
Yeah, that's a fair assessment. Okay.
Yeah, I haven't, there was one about digital assessment. I haven't worked much with that. There are several projects ongoing at the university. Send me an email and I can probably get you in contact with someone working with it at the university if you'd like to use that. And I got the non-interactive packager was several years old. So that's and that's something. Let's see here if we can. Yeah.
Okay. Do most licenses have temporary off-site use during the pandemic? And what's going to happen when you're partially back on campus?
Adobe sent us an offer that we could, they will end the free licenses, but if we pay 60 euros a student, they will continue to provide software for the students. We already have a license for the Affinity Suite that includes quite good software that competes with Adobe software. So we have told the students that we will make the software available on the computers in the computer rooms, and we will make those available remote. But if you would like to run Photoshop or something like that, we said Affinity Photo is a much better to run it, because you're allowed to install it even on your own computer and use it for personal things. And we have, most companies have been really nice. When you ask them, can we get can the students run these? Yeah, here's licenses, run for free. But most of them have said during the spring. And Adobe is the only one we have heard of that said that, yeah, you're not allowed to run this in the autumn. The other companies haven't heard anything from yet. But I'm not surprised that Adobe wanted to have money for continued using it during the autumn. And
okay, I think we've got time for one more question.
Yeah, and we have a temporary offsite. That's what we have also about Intune, and yeah, Surface Pro X not capable of running cloud page. Yeah, I think that the HTML5 version of Parallels should be possible to run on a Surface Pro X as well. So that's what I'm expecting, because running natively on Surface Pro X, I had a Windows RT Surface. That's not very useful. And I think it would take a while before the Surface Pro X is useful as well. But it's a great device, in my opinion.
Cool.
And I think that, yeah.
I think we'll wrap this session up.
Yeah.
Obviously, if you've got any questions, then don't hesitate to email us.
Yeah.
Morgan's details on screen, and you can email us at Software 2 as well. Only remains for me to say thank you very much for your time, and enjoy any future sessions.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Have a good afternoon, everyone. Take care.
Yeah, good afternoon.